by Smitty's Car Wash.
Today I am joined by WCIA 3 meteorologist Adam Sherwinski. Welcome back to ciLiving.
Yes, I feel like I was just here a little bit ago, and now I'm back.
And we did a cloud quiz, so I'm excited to see what you have brought for me today.
Nothing as exciting as that. We're just going to talk about statistics and talk about weather and history. I mean, talk about Thanksgiving statistics, because when you think of Thanksgiving, you think of cold temperatures, and we have had cold temperatures. We've also had some slightly warmer days as well, but let's get to the history first, if you don't mind.
Great, and I'm sure I'll have lots of questions.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Let's get into it right now. We do usually a weather history within the past week or so the 20th through the 27th, and November 21st to the 22nd, 1992, count them, two-day tornado outbreak that tore through Mississippi, Georgia, Indiana, Alabama. It killed 12 people and injured over 300 people with over 60 tornadoes reported in 2 days. Also set the record for most tornadoes in the month of November for the state of Indiana at 15.
Okay, so what makes it an outbreak of tornadoes? What is the number that becomes an outbreak?
There's a certain number, and I don't remember off the top of my head, but there are a certain number, and it's the location. So not just the number, but where, and kind of in relevance to the actual system itself. So if you have 5 or 6 in one spot, 5 or 6 in another, that might be 2 separate outbreaks. Timing too is another thing. So I think it's time, location, and number. So they're all kind of 3 just bundled in together. Those are for the people who do all the statistics for categorizing things historically too as well. Speaking of tornadoes, another one on the 24th in 1928. This is a spot that doesn't normally get tornadoes, and it was before the Fujita scale was really used, but estimated F4 tornado damaged 4 homes in Haustrup, Denmark. That's a spot you don't normally think about when you think about tornadoes. And tornadoes do happen overseas. Outside of the United States, the United Kingdom gets them, sometimes Russia, and also you get them in Canada. Canada is a very popular location to get a lot of tornadoes, and you can get them also there in down towards the south in Australia too.
I did not know that.
Bangladesh also is well known for getting tornadoes too.
I remember growing up in Illinois, I would have tornado drills in school, and we were always told if you have a basement, you go hide in the basement, and obviously stay away from the window.
Oh, you are going to have fun when we have severe weather season. We'll start talking about severe weather safety very soon.
Weather safety. But my sister, one time, the tornado siren was going off, and she went to look out the window, and I grabbed her and was like, no, get away from the window. And then she was so afraid of windows for a while because she was little and I think didn't connect what I had learned in kindergarten and was trying to impart onto her.
And the good news is we're getting into transition season, so yes, there's still the potential for tornadoes. We've had tornadoes here in central Illinois during the winter months and in November. One of the most dangerous ones, the November 17th outbreak, happened here during this month as well in Washington, and also I think Gifford too as well. But we have had some tornadoes here in central Illinois during the month of November, but we get into our real season back in November or later in the spring. So transition seasons. That's why we have a lot of them there for on our weather history. Another one on 1950, the Great Appalachian Storm of 1950. Guess where that was? Yes, the Appalachian Mountains area. Where
that was my guess.
That was your guess? There we go. There was a report of snow totals as high as 30 to 50 inches and 62 inches there in West Virginia.
Wow.
That's a lot of snow.
That is a lot of snow.
Say it ain't snow.
Wait, I have one more question before we move on to snow about tornadoes, is what causes a tornado?
Oh, we could sit here all day. We don't have enough time. I'm looking at the counter right now. We don't have time for that. But we could have that for a future AYM.
All right, that'll be coming up someday soon.
Yes. So let's talk about Thanksgiving. We're getting right down to there. Now we're showing a lot of statistics, and you know, Thanksgiving is never on the same day, and you know that's the thing. There's always different data for each one. But let's talk about what we expect from some of the ones in climatology. This is from the National Weather Service office there in Lincoln, Illinois, not too far from us. But the highest and lowest temperatures. You think of Thanksgiving, you think of cool temperatures. Well, 68, the highest recorded temperature there at Peoria at the airport there in 1915. Lowest temperature, most likely at night, at -1 in 1915. Wettest was about 1.8 inches there on the 20th of 1960 in terms of rainfall, so 1.8 inches, that's a decent amount. And snowfall, 4 inches there in 1893, and a third of all Thanksgivings in Peoria have had measurable precipitation. So think about that, that's pretty cool.
Measurable, so what does that mean? It has to be above a certain amount?
It's collected. That means you can have observed and collected too. So you can have trace amounts that really doesn't matter too much, but you still had some there, so therefore it is measurable in some regards. So keep that in mind. Here's a look at Springfield within our DMA, and you'll see that we have our warmest in 67 there in 1973, lowest there in about 1950 at 0 degrees, so not far off. Some of these numbers kind of continue on with the same dates as what we had for our last slide. Peoria and Springfield aren't super far away from each other. almost an inch and a half there of
That's a
rainfall
lot
in
of
28th
rain.
in 1968, yeah. And most snowfall there, about 2.4 inches there in 1980. Look at that, though. You can see that 3.51% of Thanksgivings have had measurable precipitation
Wow.
for us in Springfield, too, as well. So
amazing.
Yes.
Well, this has been awesome. I love learning about the history. Did you have something else to add?
Oh, I was just going to say that every year it seems different when we have Thanksgiving. Some years are warm, some years are cold,
Right.
and it's never consistent. But I always like a Thanksgiving with a little bit of snow in there, a little bit of a dusting here.
Right,
So
because it kind of gets you in the holiday
Exactly.
spirit and makes the leaves all pretty.
we'll have that fine-tuned forecast coming up here with Kevin later on there at the 4 o'clock hour, or the 4 o'clock hour and the 5 o'clock hour. So keep that in mind.
Awesome. Well, if you have questions for Adam, email him at asherwinski@wcia.com.